So I meet this woman and we go on one date. It was actually on Valentine's Day, which when I think back, that's pretty crazy. Who goes on a first date on Valentine's Day? So we did, things went okay. And so we decided to get together again. And I'm at a bike race and I'm there with my sons. And I normally would not introduce my sons to someone that I just started dating. However, we were there, we were at this race. She calls me and says, "Hey, I'm around the corner. I'd like to stop by and say hi." So I'm like, "Okay, come on over." And so, I don't know, 30 minutes, 45 minutes later, she shows up. And keep in mind, this is before a race, and there's hundreds of people there. And they've already got the course set up, they've got everything ready to go. And she shows up, she brings her bike, which is not her bike, it's her daughter's bike, her young teenage daughter's bike, which does not fit her very well. And then number two, she doesn't ride. She did have a helmet. However, I believe it was her daughter's helmet. Oh, this is terrible. And so we have a little bit of time before the race, and the course is clear. It wasn't a closed course, so we were able to actually go for a little ride. So my sons hop on their bikes. They're number one, number two. I'm number three behind them, and then she's number four behind me. So picture this. We're riding along this nice, pretty safe, pretty flat trail, at least this section. And we get maybe 100 yards or less. We take a right, and to keep in mind, we're spread out quite a bit, maybe like 7, 8, 10 feet apart each, right? So we get to this first turn, and my sons, they turn and they turn right and they go down. All of a sudden, there's a steep drop. And it's not too crazy of a drop, but it's a nice little drop. And they drop down, they cross this wooden bridge, which is probably about 10 feet long. And then they have to climb back up this other side, which was kind of steep. Well, they're both new riders. They didn't make it. Keep in mind, we're spread out 7, 8, 10 feet apart each. My first son goes, my second son goes, he's close behind him. I go, and then I don't see her yet because she hasn't made to the turn yet. Well, my sons don't make it up to the top, and they stop mid-climb. Right there, boom, I see that, I stop. I had just crossed the bridge. Well, I turn back to say, "Hey, stop." And she doesn't stop in time. She doesn't really pay attention. And she hits that hill, goes down, crosses the bridge, then looks up. And what does she do? She pulls hard on both her front and rear brake. Well, guess what? She flips over the handlebars. She crashes. And I didn't know this at the time. I went to check on her and console her. She was crying and screaming. And come to find out, she had broken both of her arms. Not one, but both of her arms. So I've been trained as an instructor in first aid, CPR, AED, and all those things. And so I knew how to handle the situation. So I point to my oldest son. I say, "Hop on your bike and pedal as fast as you can back to the front, because there's people there that are mountain bike patrol who are actually overseeing the race, and so they can come and help." So he takes off. My oldest son, he's just hanging out right there. He doesn't know what to do. And I'm consoling her, trying to keep her calm and talk to her and all those things. And then they come, I don't know, 5, 7 minutes later, they come and start taking over, and they get her on the board and get her all, bundled up and everything. And sure enough, she broke both arms, and they cart her off. And the entire race was delayed because of this. And I ride back. I grab her bike. I kind of, side by side, I take them back, and I see her getting placed into the ambulance. And I had her bike in my possession for, I don't know, a week or two. And I ended up dropping her bike off at her work or at her house. I don't remember exactly. It's all a little bit of a blur. But needless to say, we didn't have a third date, and she was pretty mad about the situation. I'm laughing just because what else can you do at this point after something like that happens? And hopefully she can look back and laugh. That is by far the wildest, craziest, wackiest date that I've ever had. And I'm curious to hear if you've had anything that could top that.